Over the last year, I found myself asking the question, is it okay to live a simple life? And then wondering, whose permission do I need exactly to live the way that feels most natural to me? So if you've been wondering whether it's okay or not, hopefully this will give you the permission you've been searching for to live a simple life full of all the small joys we find in the everyday. Good morning, friends. So today I am going to be doing some cooking because over the past year I've tried really hard to learn how to cook better, and one of the best things about having more time, because obviously we haven't been able to see friends and things like that, is learning new skills. And I want to use some of the things that I have grown in my garden, like basil and chard and things like that, and basically turn them into something delicious. So we're going to make some flatbreads, we're going to make some basil pesto in a pestle and mortar because my blender has broken, and I think it's a more traditional method of doing it anyway. So we're going to be making that, which is going to be super good. I just really enjoyed the whole slowing down and process and learning more skills and things like that. I think it's been really important, and every day I'm seeing more and more the benefits of slow living and simple living, and it just makes me think, why do we have to ask permission to live a way that just seems so much more natural to us? So we're going to go and get cooking, get some stuff out of the garden, and make a kind of flatbread, pesto, mushroom pizza. I think, in the society we live in, a simple life is often wrongly assumed to be a boring one. And I think this stems from the pressures we feel to constantly be busy, to be always living to the max whilst overlooking the simplest of joys that can be found in a conversation with an old friend, or the baking of a perfect cake, or the nurturing of your garden. What worries me is that a lot of us are asking permission to live simply, to shy away from what is deemed a happy and successful life, and revert back to the small things that fill our days with laughter, joy, and satisfaction. I wonder why we have to ask. Perhaps it's because we don't feel deserving, or maybe we're worried about what others may think of how we live. Either way, I think the answer is simple. To live in alignment with one's own values is the greatest gift. Don't waste it by trying to please others and forgetting to live your life. The thing I've learned since living in the countryside is that joy can be found in the most unlikely places, and it is the people who spark it.
was just like floating around with different produce from that area, and it's a kind of utopic idea, you know. I'm dreaming now. I'm not saying that that's going to happen.
Good morning, friends. Today is an exciting day because it is raining, and that's exciting because it means I don't have to water the garden today. And honestly, lazy gardening is what I am about. Obviously, there are so many tasks that I just love doing. Obviously, I love planting and keeping things going, building kind of structures for my plants to climb up and stuff like that. It's so fun. But also there are some days when I can't be bothered to water the whole garden, and so when the heavens open and it rains, I'm very, very grateful. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that I'm still journaling. I've mentioned this before, and I think I do this every single day, and I think it's going to be particularly interesting to look back on this journal in a couple of years' time, to read my thoughts and feelings, particularly moving home again and living with my parents for the past year and being able to spend time with them, and being apart from my boyfriend for the last 9 months, how that's been and how that's felt, and also what it's been like living through a pandemic and how that's actually changed me. And that's kind of why I was thinking about this video title today, you know, is it okay to live a simple life? Because this past year I've gravitated so much more to the simple things, and how it brings me so much joy to see a little tiny tomato grow on my tomato plants that I've lovingly been growing over the past few months. And also what other stuff I've filled my time with, because obviously I haven't really been able to see my friends that much, haven't seen my boyfriend that much, haven't been able to go to the gym and all those things that I usually fill my time with, and what I've been doing instead. I've also recently taken a social media break where I've been working in the background, but I haven't been present on social media. This is particularly on Instagram, because I find that Instagram, it takes a lot more of your time. I think it's like a kind of a sinkhole of time. YouTube, I don't find that. I just love YouTube. I love the community that we have on here, and I'm always just so excited to read your comments and to get back to you guys. But I've actually read 5 books over the past 2.5 weeks because I've been off social media. And these are the ones that I've read. I'm actually still reading A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki, but I've also finished The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan, How Do We Know We're Doing It Right by Pandora Sykes, Behind the Beautiful Forevers by Catherine Boo, and then also Shuggy Bane by Douglas Stewart. If you follow me on Instagram, my book Instagram, Amy's Book Club, I'll be posting more about those there. It was really interesting how I've changed over the last year in terms of moving more towards a simple life, because it didn't come too quickly. And now that things that are opening up here in the UK, and you know, I would have thought, and my sister said this to me as well, she thought that I would have moved back to London by now. And while I have been back a couple of times to see my friends when it's been allowed, I have always found myself wanting to come back to the countryside and looking after my garden, just being able to go for walks on the downs, and it's just a massive privilege to be able to do that. And it's made me think a lot about when my boyfriend and I, when we get to live together, hopefully this year, where we're going to live. And I think that's going to be a really fun thing to think about, because going forward, of course it's okay to live a simple life. It's so important that we live in alignment with what we truly, truly want. Things that are important to me are relationships and spending time doing the things that I love. And I'm hoping that we can find somewhere to live that incorporates all of those things and all of those places. That's going to be really interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to get all of your opinions as well, because I'm sure lots of you live in the places that we are thinking of moving to, which will be really exciting. For now, I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and write in my journal, and then we're going to get on with some tasks for the day. I'm going to plant out some chard and my cucumber plant, and also just show you my basil plant because it's going absolutely wild. It's so exciting. Look at all of this new growth. Good morning, friends. It is very early. I really wanted to try and catch sunrise this morning. I'm halfway there. So I'm gonna go out for a walk and see if I can watch it over the downs. I actually cannot get over how beautiful this morning is. God, I'm so lucky that it was a beautiful morning when I woke up. Wow, now I understand why people get up for sunrise. This is